I really try not to compare myself to anybody. Being a late bloomer, I just feel like my game is just creative and unique in its own different type of way.
James David Bouknight, born September 18th, 2000. Today's feature is a player selected 11th overall in the NBA draft and is in his second season in the NBA. Yes, it's early on in his career, and none of what I'm about to say means he won't turn it around at some point and become what many saw him becoming leaving college. At UCONN, Bouknight was a matchup nightmare. He was 6'5" with a deep handle bag, one expected from a New York guard, very deceptive with his poker-faced moves he used to imbalance defenders, leading into another deep bag he possessed, finishing at the rim. He had the floater, quick and well-timed runner, up and unders, contact finishes, wrong leg Steve Nash lays, and athletic enough to flush it from above the rim in traffic on his own or off the rebound putback. As far as scouting a prospect, there was nothing not to like about Bouknight at the time, and leading up to the draft, his name was one spoken often and highly of, which led to him becoming a lottery selection and expected to be a key piece to the Charlotte Hornets' young core right out the gate. Instead, his career has had a slow start to say the least, where with the Hornets, he never seemed to figure out how to crack the rotation, only playing 9.8 minutes as a rookie, had just one game all year December 10th against the Sacramento Kings, where you saw his potential, more DNPs than can count, and spent most of the year inactive or in the G League. He averaged 4 points a game, shot 34% from 3, attempting little over 1 a game, 0.8 assists and a rebound. He also had a spat with his head coach on the sideline of a live game caught on camera, with star player LaMelo Ball attempting to save him from making an emotional mistake, throwing his career away before he could show what he could do with the investment the team made in him not even a year earlier. This current season, he's upped his minutes under new coach Steve Clifford from 9.8 a game to 15 in the first 3 games, but has looked even worse than he did last year so far, averaging less points, much worse field goal percentage and 3-point percentage in more opportunity and a fresh new coach. At best, he looks like he doesn't fit what Charlotte has going on at the moment and at risk of being typecasted as a bust in the NBA. Once that happens, many players aren't able to shake that and receive the opportunities needed to improve. Off the court, he was recently arrested for being intoxicated behind the wheel, sitting in a parking deck passed out and blocking traffic with 2 handguns and a bag of Doritos in his lap. When attempted to be awakened, he ate one of the Doritos, placed his car in drive and hit one police car going forward, then put it in reverse and hit another. He was arrested, made bail, and returned to practice the next day, awaiting to see if what the courts decide to do will affect his basketball career. He just turned 22 last month, and in no way is his career over just yet, but his growth has definitely been stunted, and for these reasons. Let's talk about it. It's your boy JC, Stunted Growth. Let's get it, man.
Y'all ready to keep this thing moving?
James Bouknight is a 6'5" shooting guard from Brooklyn, New York, Crown Heights to be exact, that played baseball for the most of his childhood before discovering he also had a bright future as a basketball player. He began his career at LaSalle Academy in New York, where he won a Class B state championship, MVP, and Class B Player of the Year. He then transferred to McDuffie School in Massachusetts, where he reclassified as a junior and averaged 19 points a game. A torn meniscus slowed his high school career, but he returned as a senior and received New England Prep All-American honors and a 4-star rating. He was rated top 55 leaving as a senior, choosing UConn as his college choice. There, he wasted no time becoming the team's second leading scorer as a freshman, then taking over as a sophomore in a pandemic-shortened season where he averaged almost 19 points a game and 6 rebounds in 15 games. Even though he shot just 29% from 3 and 44% from the field in total. He decided to enter the draft and became that year's catch fire name during the draft process and parlayed that into the 11th pick by the Hornets. Stunt number 1, play style. One of the reasons Bouknight has yet to find the same success in the league as he did in college is because his play style doesn't exactly fit the role he was thrusted into. Now that the talent level of the NBA has risen over the past decade, almost every team has multiple players that, if were on their own team, could be all-stars, but since they have one or two guys on the same team just as talented, there's no room for all to shine, and some players like James find it difficult to show their potential. James is a guy that needs the ball in his hands and needs to dance around on his defender to find his advantage and be effective. I use Allen Iverson as an example of this, where when AI was the clear superstar on his team and allowed to dribble as much as he wanted to set the defense up, in an era where teams had maybe one guy on the team who was an all-star, this could work and did work wonders for Allen Iverson. But as time went by and Allen found himself on different teams later on in his career, he was like fish out of water, not being able to dance into his bag as much and wasn't as productive, even though on teams like the Pistons or Grizzlies or even Denver, he was still at prime age. Yes, he was older, but still I think affected more because those teams had other guys to defer to and not enough space to be Allen Iverson. Bouknight in no way is comparable to Allen's greatness, but on a vastly smaller level finds it difficult to be just another guy coming off the bench behind Melo, Rozier, Oubre as a rookie, even Isaiah Thomas. In year 2, they added Dennis Smith Jr., who's playing well so far, along with the same starting guard rotation, and James just seems like the odd man out once again. All because his play style of having the ball in his hands often to be successful doesn't work on this level with his lack of ready development. Maybe with more time and on a different team, but then again, as mentioned, what team is going to have the space in 2022 and on to feature a guy like Bouknight who hasn't proven a thing in the league with that style? Stunt number 2, not important enough. Adding to that, in order for James Bouknight to play that style or any style to get him on the floor, he must be seen as an important piece to a team on either end of the floor. Unfortunately, he doesn't do anything other than potentially score to warrant that attention. At shooting guard, of course, your number one duty is to put the ball in the basket, but secondarily, you have to be able to act as another ball handler and creator on offense. Especially when you're a smaller 6'5" that came back year 2 still weighing toothpick pounds, haven't seemed to have successfully worked on your game, still don't rebound, assist, or play defense at elite levels, or enough to be seen as an important piece. He's kind of just out there at this point. If he's not scoring, why is he on the floor? Until that changes, Bouknight won't be seen as important enough to be allowed to play his game. Stunt number 3, lack of focus. This one you hate to see and say about a player, but actions will always be more important than words, and James's actions off the court are not conducive to a player wanting to make the most out of his situation, and now rather than when it's too late. Going back to college, Bouknight has had off-court issues, all stemming from his wanting to drive either intoxicated or recklessly. At UCONN, he crashed his car while intoxicated and fled the scene, turning himself in later and was suspended 3 games and placed on probation. He had 3 additional court dates for reckless driving prior to this latest Dorito bag arrest for speeding and reckless driving. And of course, this last one where he hit 2 police cars with guns on his lap off 4 shots of tequila. If nothing else, Bouknight doesn't seem focused on basketball and bettering his situation. That, or he needs serious help before he hurts himself or someone else. This all looks bad and is a distraction for his career at the very least. Not to mention him almost fighting his coach mid-game. For a guy not living up to his lottery pick, it's surprising this is the course he's taking. All in all, James Bouknight does have potential. He seems frustrated being in Charlotte and maybe needs a change of scenery. Either way, he's been a huge disappointment, and if he doesn't rectify the above soon, he can find himself out the league. Salute, much respect, but for these reasons, his growth is being stunted. It's your boy JC Stunted Growth, and I'm out.